Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back. So we have the GKEAPZA, whatever. I don't even know if you can pronounce that. I don't even know if that's even a word, to be honest, but maybe it's in some weird language. But regardless of the fact, this thing normally, by the way, plugs right into the side of your tablet. I have things set up a little differently. So I bought a USB-C male to female extension that was like half a meter. It cost me, what was it here? $17 for a half a meter made by Ugreen. So this is also a dual review just to get it over with, because what's the sense of doing a review just on a cable, right? Anyways, cable works absolutely perfectly fine. It's a great cable. It's heavy duty built. Built for the long haul. It's even got braiding on the outside. Magnifique. And there's a 4.5 average star rating on it on Amazon with 1,909 ratings. So yeah, I can go along with that. I can give it a 4.5, easy, because it does work and it does what it's supposed to do. Now this cable is a USB 3.2 Gen 2 10 gigabit, so it's not Gen 2 by 2, which is like 20 gigabit. It's Type C, male to female extender cord, Thunderbolt 3.0 compatible. Now, well, we're going to get to that. 4K video capability, 100-watt fast charge data cable for MacBook Pro, Air, PS5 controller, etc., etc. The list goes on, right? You know how it works. And you can use it as an extension cable for your 4K monitor if your 4K monitor uses a USB cable, right? So, that being all said, the Thunderbolt 3 port section and supports video as well in and out. So let's continue on with the hub. The cable is fantastic. Yeah, go ahead, buy it. It's good. 4 out of 5 rating on the hub itself. Okay. Now this is a USB 3.0 only hub. Now my Thunderbolt drive cases, I guess, do not drop that low because I can't get one to mount. But I can get these two drives to mount because no problem. Okay. My gold case by Oracle, it's a 3.2 Gen 2 2x2 and below, no problem. My Sabrent is like, I think it's like 3.2 or 3.1 and below, so also no problem. So if we go to our files area, bingo, come on, get up there. Touch, touch, touch. All right. On my iPad, that's your internal drive, PC backup. That's got just PC stuff only on it at this point. And then I have a main backup drive, which is Mac and PC and any new other games and stuff. And of course, Logic Pro Trial. Yeah, I love Logic Pro. I gotta get the money to buy it though. I'm tired of just using trials. But anyways, so it reads exFAT just fine. Not a hassle. Okay, awesome stuff. Reads your APFS file format system, etc. Right? It's gonna read it. If your iPad can read it, it's going to read it. That's all there is to it. Now, if we really want to push the envelope a little bit, we have 2 drives plugged in already. Now, like I said, this is power in only, okay, for this port, and it powers the hub as well, provided you got enough juice to do it, which is why I went to a 65-watt power supply, because you do get a 30-watt power supply with your iPad Pro 11-inch M2. So you're going to not want to stress out the power supply too hard, especially when you're plugging junk in. Yeah, I had no problems. And the card actually goes in upside down, which is kind of a little bit of a strange bird. But it showed up just like magic. See, it's there, and it's also empty because it's just an empty card. Now, problem is I got all my ports filled up. Now, it's going to be a little tricky getting stuff out again, right? But we can just simply unplug here first, get that one out of the way. The one thing I didn't think through enough was the height here, but it's the way I connected stuff. And then we can also unplug this one, and we're all empty again. Yay! Okay, so it has no problem powering all those devices at once. No glitches, no drops. I've had none of the drives just drop off all of a sudden because of lack of power. We do have lots of power here. And like I said again, it's a powered hub, and it's running a 4K display at the same time. And I'm going to switch over to that side of the fence for a quick second and see if I can show you this. And I don't know how this is going to work out. We're gonna figure it out. Because I'm doing this blind now. I have no way of seeing. I'm using my iPhone as a continuity camera here. Okay, come on, let's switch over here. HDMI 2. Ba-dum-bum. Resync my screen. External display. Resynced. There we go. We had a syncing issue. So, I don't know how much of that you can see, but voila! Now we have our iPad sitting on our 4K display here. And away we go. So now if we want to run DaVinci on a big screen, which is more handier, we can actually do that. That is fantastic. And because we're mirroring the display, we can run programs on either screen at the same time. When you're not going to mirror, some things just don't quite work right. Okay? DaVinci will just like up and quit on this screen when you're not mirroring. Which is kind of like, oh, okay, well, I get it now. But if you go over and you slide your cursor over to the other screen, then yeah, you can fire up DaVinci on the tablet side, but then it's weird between mirroring and not mirroring. But I just leave it mirrored for this. We don't get an entirely full screen when we're in the mirror area, but we get a big enough. I mean, this is a 27-inch display, so we do get more than big enough to work with DaVinci properly on a big screen. And we do have, even though it's 4K, it's kind of like magnified higher. And I've tried different connection points for, they've got default, they got larger, they got smaller, and it just seems to mess with the screen size more than anything. It does mess with icon size too, but at default, this is like the best you're going to get, like best quality picture, but you're not going to get a full picture, obviously. But you're going to get full enough that, yeah, it's got no issues here with DaVinci. I mean, that's like, boom, that's pretty good. Like, that's at least, good 20 odd inches worth, so it's fine if you're going to leave it in the mirror mode this way. I'm still working out some of the things of learning how to work with an iPad on an external screen because I usually don't do this, right? But I am trying to see how well an iPad 2 can also work as a desktop. And with surfing so far, since I got Chrome set up properly, Chrome is actually doing pretty good as far as being able to surf the internet, do my emails on my email accounts, watch YouTube videos. That part is going fine. Working with other stuff, it's kind of I don't know. Sometimes it works fine, sometimes it's kind of different. Ongsong is kind of neat. Now, this is where we still have the same problem with iPads and Onsongs is it doesn't like to go out to the external screen very well. So if we rotate the iPad, we should be able to get somewhere, but apparently not. And it's like, oh, come on, seriously? Oh, now we're in this view. Maybe this will work. No! And if we scroll the lyrics on the iPad, no! So Onsong, maybe it's a setting somewhere. I'm going to have to figure that out eventually, but Onsong is just definitely not a happening thing here. It's the way I would like it and prefer it to work. So, but anyhow, games play okay though, but you're going to have to rotate your iPad. If the game plays vertical, then you're going to have to rotate your iPad to play on screen, otherwise your mouse is completely backwards. But hey, it's fine. It does its job. It works really, really well, so we cannot complain there. I'm going to go back now to the regular mode here so we can get back. And let's see what we've got. Oh yeah, I gotta switch my mouse back over again too to my Mac. There we go. Bring up QuickTime. And we got a bit of a blur view this time. Maybe we can pull this back a bit. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, it works. Okay. Anyways, so with the adapter, it's like $38 for this thing. It does work. You do get the odd audio hiccup, and when you are plugged in, whether you're plugged direct into the side or whether you're on headphones, for some reason, we do not get the audio coming out of our built-in speakers. And I even tried unplugging the headphone jack. So we're going to do a little test here, just to see if maybe it's something we're doing
first
wrong.
Off is our stand that
so
our iPad
this sound is now
on,
coming through my speakers.
It's made by UMIDI, and no one's ever bought one.
This is the same speakers that my Mac are hooked into, so just everything's routed through my equipment this way.
Sucker in line.
So if we unplug, we have no sound. If we unplug here, stops the video, of course. So now we're back to internal speakers.
I got a nice little discount on mine.
Plug back in.
I ain't complaining.
Because it's going to the external display automatically because it's plugged in, I guess, we definitely lose our audio there. But if we do this, we still get no audio. So I'm thinking the audio jack is like overriding the thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Get our speakers back.
With the, iPad
unplug the HDMI. This way we're not putting
first
video
gen,
out,
second
right?
Gen, third gen, and Air 4th gen. No problem there. Not
We get to keep our
compatible with
speakers.
12.9 though, so don't try
So
it
now if
for
we go
12.9,
here,
apparently.
that's loud.
Anyways,
Of course, and
Automatically routes it.
And you can rotate this thing
Okay.
horizontal.
Now,
or you can
if
go
we unplug, it's going to stop the video. Okay.
you're gonna have to grip it
So,
and rotate it.
This is the
And,
deal.
So actually
You're going to love me.
all the way vertical.
There were some issues that people had come up
Okay,
with,
that
obviously.
I guess we're gonna go this way.
Maybe I turned it too many times the other way around.
Okay, we're back to our speakers.
Anyway.
So here's the deal. There was another chap that mentioned some audio glitches. My 4K display, and I also have a 2x4K display. It's native 2, but jumps to 4. These both have an audio output jack. And because of that, it wants to try and throw it through the HDMI. And then, of course, once you plug in your headphones, right, you're going to have to unplug this, replug back in once the headphones are in. Then it resyncs it back to going out to the headphone jack. Kind of weird, I know. There's no control over this under iOS, which is a thing that should cheese everybody off. Apple needs to fix our sound area for dictation. Kind of like our Mac OS, we can dictate wherever it goes in an HDMI cable, through monitor that has a built-in jack. There's no speakers in my monitor, but there is a jack, so I could go sound out and use the HDMI as part of my video and audio feed. But it's like, I don't do that anyways, so yeah, feature is useless to me. But because of this hub, it's capable of doing all of it. It kind of shoves things through, but then when you plug in the pair of headphones or speakers in my case, and then you unplug, replug stuff, yeah, it's okay. But then to get our internal speakers back and still use the hub, same time, we cannot use an external display if we want to use the internal speakers. You get my drift here? So there is that glitch, but it's not the hub's fault, it's Apple's fault for not allowing us to reroute things the way we need them to when we plug junk into our devices, right? So that's an Apple thing in my opinion. However, the hub works absolutely fine. It is supposed to plug just into the side of the iPad. It does have some little rail adapters that slide onto the dovetails back here, and you just plug it in and it keeps everything nice and stiff and secure. However, you can't use this hub plugged into your iPad when you have a case on your iPad. Even a thin case. I have this ESR case that I use. I cannot even use this with my magnetic stand because of the hump here pushes it away from the stand's magnets. So yeah, it's just going to dump on the ground, right? So you got to use it without a case. And I'm kind of okay with putting the case on and off. Doesn't bother me. With the hub, it's the same issue. It cannot work in your iPad if you have a case of any kind, even these thin cases. The hub won't work with its mounting brackets, and if you have the case on there, it creates too much distance, so you can't plug the hub in all the way. So you have to run the hub on your iPad with absolutely no case, regardless. That part sucks. They didn't think that one through on the design factor. I will still give this thing a good 4.5 out of 5. I think 4 out of 5 is probably the most realistic. It does have our sound glitchy thing that we have to deal with, especially when we're running an external monitor. That is something. But iPads also don't have headphone jacks in them anymore, so it's like the audio goes through anyway, and it's kind of like, well, as long as we do the right do's and we figure it out, then we know. A lot of people get frustrated really quick because they don't understand technology as much as they should, right? And they do take the word of a lot of other people, which is fine, that do understand it. But even at that, I've been experimenting more because I'm kind of scratching my head going, why is this doing this and why is it not doing that? And so we just came up with all your problems to work out for yourself, and then you're okay. You'll be fine after this, okay? But either way, it's a solution for now that works for me. It's a nice little hub. The only thing I didn't think through enough was, pasting it on here onto the stand with double-sided tape is great because it keeps it clean, okay? But it also keeps everything nice and stiff and rigid, no hassles, right? But I didn't consider the height issue to the table surface. So if I want to get better access to my ports when stuff's plugged in, then I think I'm going to have to either just go with one device at a time, or I'm going to have to put this whole thing up on a little booster stand to get a little height. And then I'll be fine for, if I wanted to load up all the ports and do some crazy stuff, then I'd be able to do that and be able to plug in and unplug stuff all I want. But it is powered hub, okay? But it takes the power from here. Power delivery goes straight to your iPad, but it also goes to here to power these ports properly, so you have plenty of power without having to worry about dropouts or whatever. And I've had, like I said, every port on this thing loaded except for the micro SD at the same time, and I had no issues. But I did have to go to a 65 watt power supply, okay? That was the big thing. So, that all being said, they do say power delivery 60 watt, okay? So that's probably the maximum input. But I do have a 65 on here, and it's been fine. I've been running this for like days now. It's been no issues whatsoever. I do have a 96 watt, but I didn't want to try that because I figured maybe this company might just make this thing that if you give it way more, then it might have a problem. You never know how they design stuff, right? So I'm like, 65 watts is the best I can do. Sorry, let's see what happens. And we've had absolutely no glitches or problems with a 65 watt. So don't go past 65 watts and you'll definitely for sure be fine, because we don't have a breakdown schematic of this hub and how it actually functions, so we don't know if we can actually plug in anything higher into this particular hub. The general rule is things don't take more than what they need for power, but we also don't want to drive too much power on the pass-through to the tablet, because if we charge our tablet too fast, that actually harms the battery. So yeah, anyways, it can harm the battery. That's a whole other video. But anyways, I'm fine at a 4 out of 5 for sure on this thing. $38 Canadian. Links are in the description below for that, and the Ugreen cable that I'm using. The Ugreen cable is fantastic. It's doing its job, but I do want to upgrade to a Thunderbolt actual cable extension to see if I get any better performance. But for $17 for this cable, it does work, and the hub is only USB 3.0, which this is why I'm thinking a Thunderbolt cable ain't going to help my cause any, because I don't think my Thunderbolt cases can drop down to 3.0, because they will not mount whatsoever on this setup. The only way they work properly is direct into the iPad only. So that means unplug the hub, then I can use my Thunderbolt drive, and they work perfectly fine. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys, so thanks so much for watching and sticking around here for the last 20 minutes, and we'll be sure to catch you on the next video. See ya.